I want to talk about the steps, um, the phases, if you will, that show up when you are on your way to the seat of the magician. So, the seat of the magician is the person who is in creative flow with the universe. Contrary to many manifestation practices that are out there, it does not mean you're just high vibe all the time. Just so you know. You're allowed to be pissed off. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be afraid. But you use all of that as fuel to be in creation, to be in flow, to set new standards for yourself. And so here are some of the phases that you may come across that keep you from that place. And I had such a good time creating these, so I'm excited to share them. The first is the stagnant survivor. Now, when this person is stuck, and again, it's a phase, so we all have gone through these different phases or will go through these different phases if we are working on manifestation in any way or just life creation. Same. Um, it's not like one person is this thing. There might be people who are more inclined to particular phases, but we can all be in any of them at any time. Okay, so stagnant survivor. They are stuck, or when they are stuck, they feel resigned and resistant. And you might get a lot of victim mentality. There's a lot of blaming other people for your circumstances. You are here when you're cycling through the same dramas over and over, whether they're in your mind or outside of you. So you might be creating dramas in your life. So you have something to fight with, or you're looping in your mind about things. You're doing what's expected, struggling with maintaining the status quo. So even the bare minimum, whether it's your expectation or someone else's, you're struggling to maintain that. You can imagine more, but you only have enough energy to get through the day to day. The idea of change feels exhausting, even if your current state is frustrating. You keep waiting for something external to force your hand or shake things up to rescue you. Your primary pattern, you choose safety over possibility, and then you resent the cage. Primary emotion when you're stuck is fear. Primary desire is peace and freedom. And again, you're like wanting that from something external. You want somebody else to create peace and freedom for you, even if you don't want to admit that, and you probably don't. Your catalyst phase, so the thing that helps pull you out of it, is the moment when fear peaks or boredom deepens, creating the need to break patterns and seek safety or life in new ways. So either you hit a rock bottom, um, or sometimes it's just like all of a sudden it feels like you kind of bob to the surface and you look around and you're like, what the fuck is this that I've been living? And either way, it's like enough to shake you up and you're like, okay, that's it. I did say phase, but also we can be in different phases in different parts of our life. So, like, you might be in one phase when it comes to like health and body. You might be in another phase when it comes to romantic relationships. You might be in another phase when it comes to career. You might be in another phase when it comes to money. So, where do you recognize this in your current paradigm? When this phase is moving, they are ready and they are resolute. Next, the inhibited implementer. Now, I know a few of these folks, very Aquarian energy. It does not mean they have to be an Aquarius, but it's an Aquarian type energy. It's very mental. When they are stuck, they are paralyzed and perfectionist, and they may or may not know that. So I have known people in this phase who are very aware that they're trying to move beyond something. Um, and they're just like locked into perfectionism and they don't know what to do. And then I've known people who are in this phase who just like keep, and I'll come to this more in a moment, but like keep gathering information. And then every time they're like, wait, why is my business not off the ground yet? And it's because they just haven't done anything with anything still. So, but it's a little, there's a little like denial in it. So, again, may or may not know this, that they're in this phase. You're here when you consume tons of information but don't act on it to the point of results. When it's time to implement something for yourself, you freeze, overplan, or endlessly tweak. You often feel like you should be doing more, but your desire and drive fizzle quickly. You're waiting for the perfect idea, plan, or moment to move. You give brilliant advice to others that you don't take for yourself. Primary pattern gathers input, never feels ready, gives up before starting. And it could be all of those or one or two of them. Gathers input, never feels ready, gives up before starting. Primary emotion when stuck is disconnection and possibly superiority. Do you know anybody like this? Are you like this? Primary desire, they're not sure. So this is where the catalyst phase comes in. Catching a wave of real purpose or feeling that fires up motivation, breaking the mental loop and triggering action aligned with passion. So it's really about desire. So the people that are locked into this phase have not found what moves them yet. So they're just like locked in their mental cage a little bit and they don't have like that kind of wave that comes through that's like this way. When they are moving, they are incredibly intentional and integrated. Okay, next phase. The catalyzed conjurer. So this is the person who is now in motion. They are creating, and it's wild and it's haphazard and it's ungrounded. So this person is ungrounded, unreliable. They say something, they have total belief in themselves, but when you hear them say it, you're like, I don't see how that's true, even though I believe in most things. Like, um, they definitely can come across a lot of skepticism because they haven't grounded their version of their magician enough. You're here when you feel a powerful surge of inspiration, like you're finally waking up after a long fog. You've detached from what felt stagnant, but haven't yet rooted into what's sustainable. So these are a lot of times the people who, if we're talking manifestation, which I usually am, they've started listening to a lot of inspiring things, and they're like, okay, the world is different from what I've been living it, and let me just, fly off and like do this thing and try this out, and then it works and cool, but like you don't really know how, and like maybe I'll try this out, and I don't really know, and so it's a little chaotic, maybe more than a little chaotic, can be chaotic. Okay, so you've detached from what felt stagnant, but haven't yet rooted into what's sustainable. You're trusting signs, synchronicities, and dreams, but fear what happens if the magic stops. You avoid details, structure, or follow through, afraid they'll dull your momentum. So, this could be at a very basic level, like, I'm going to manifest $1 million in the next 2 weeks, but I'm not going to look at my bank account. So, avoiding reality, only living in the magic world, and that creates inconsistent results. Primary pattern, they chase freedom, burnout, retreat. And that's if they don't find a way to ground their creative movement. Primary emotion when they're stuck is frustration, frustration with the slowness of the 3D. Primary desire is to prove their way of life is sustainable. Their catalyst phase, so the thing that helps them move out of this, is the initial dimming of the delusional glow. And I'm all for Delulu thinking, trust me. but a subtle realization that the magic needs grounding or the illusions will fade. An urge to either reframe or reconnect to reality. And then that leads to like, now I'm willing to be in reality and also connect to the 5D or the magic. This person is moving when they are inspired, initiating, and again, stepping back, like one foot in reality, one foot in magic. Because you need both. You need both. There's so much power in the 3D, and it gets a bad rap sometimes. Okay, next we have the plateaued pioneer. I know some people in this phase, and I love them. This is one of my favorite phases to work with. When they are stuck, they feel complacent and conflicted. You're here when your life is good, maybe even great, but something feels off or quietly flat. You've made it through the hard stuff, used your tools well, and built a stable reality. There's a subtle longing for more, but guilt arises because you should feel grateful. You're not stuck, but you're not lit up either. You're in a season of gentle drift, waiting for clarity or craving novelty. The primary pattern gets stuck in ideas of gratitude over self permission to create something new. So, this is the person who's like, oh my God, I did all this work. I'm doing so much better than I was. And I should be grateful. I should be grateful. I should be grateful. I should be grateful. And that actually becomes the barrier to letting themselves feel their new desire. Primary emotion when stuck is guilt. They feel guilty that they want more than what they have because what they have is good. This is the place where the quote, a good life is the greatest enemy to, or a good life is the biggest enemy to a great life. That's where this comes in. Primary desire, more pleasure. The catalyst phase, reflective curiosity. This is where the pioneer contemplates whether to settle or stretch towards new horizons, mixing gratitude with restless desire. When they're in motion, they're curious and courageous. All right, and we have the dormant designer. Overwhelmed, oblivious. So if the plateaued pioneer, the last one, does not decide to continue creating, they're likely going to become the dormant designer. You're here when your days feel packed and heavy, like you're carrying everything alone. You once lived with purpose, magic, or adventure, and now life feels like a long to-do list. You're dependable for others, but barely present for yourself. You often think, I miss myself, or have fleeting memories of a freer time. Rest feels unreachable. Everything costs more than it gives. So more output than input. Your primary pattern is you don't know where the time went. Ideas of a better or different life are put off until this or that are complete, years in the future. When the kids are out of the house, when these people graduate, when da 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 da, when I, finally get my promotion. Primary emotion when stuck is obligation. Primary desire, they think it's their higher self says that their desires are to make sure that everyone and everything they love and have worked for is taken care of. They're real. I don't know if this is a desire, more of an impulse. Their real impulse is to burn everything down and walk away with only that which matters most. Too much responsibility. Catalyst phase, the spark of remembering. The spark of remembering self beyond obligation, that re-recognition of one's own energy and the vitality of life with that in place. When they're moving, they're reclaimed and revitalized. And let me just speak to the magician really quick. So the magician, you're here when you feel in flow, not because life is perfect, but because you are co-creating with intention. You trust timing, but also take aligned action. You find delight in the synchronicities and clarity in the discomfort. Your desires feel like invitations, not demands. You feel resourced, curious, and alive with room for both reality and wonder. Wonder. Primary pattern co-creates with ease and intuition, encounters challenge or disconnection, pauses or readjusts, realigns, continues the dance. The primary emotion when stuck is grief. The primary desire is co-creation. And what can recatalyze the magician is just feeling that moment of disconnection or doubt that clouds the co-creative flow, creating an opportunity to clear fog, realign with abundance and purpose. So these are, I mean, 6 total phases of where you might be in your manifestation journey. I would love to know where you are and in what part of your life. Like, oh yeah, my relationships really show up like this. My health shows up like this. Would love to know. Share in the comments.